Hello there and good morning. You're watching Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha TV. I'm Tina Jha. These are the latest headlines we are tracking this morning. First part of the budget session ends with an extended session of Rajya Sabha to clear appropriation and vote on account bills. Government terms budget pro-poor, opposition terms say directionless. Opposition Congress could take legal route against move to bring Aadhaar bill as money bill. Lok Sabha passes Aadhaar bill by voice vote after rejecting 5 amendments made by the Rajya Sabha. AIMIM MLA Waris Pathan suspended from Maharashtra Assembly for not saying Bharat Mata Ki Jai. Asaduddin Owaisi calls it wrong precedent. Party approaches Speaker, says great injustice done. Sushma Swaraj and her Pakistani counterpart to hold bilateral meeting today at SAARC ministerial meet in Nepal. Two leaders engaged in casual discussion over dinner last night. Aziz says ready to discuss all issues. An Indian origin judge, Sri Srinivasan, loses race for nomination as US Supreme Court judge. President Barack Obama chooses Merrick Garland for the post, calls him one of the sharpest legal minds in the United States. Well, the first part of the budget session came to an end yesterday after completion of the budgetary exercise. In an extended session late last night, the Rajya Sabha cleared the appropriation and vote on account bills after extensive discussion, wherein the opposition termed it a budget without direction and purpose. Replying from the government side, Minister of State for Finance Jayant Sinha said this budget is dedicated to the poor and uplifting the last man in the row. The Parliament completed the first stage of the budgetary exercise on Wednesday, the last day of the first part of the budget session. The Rajya Sabha cleared the appropriation and vote on account bills in an extended session that went beyond 11 in the night. Minister of State for Finance Jayant Sinha termed it a budget meant for the upliftment of the country. He said the government has done a good job in managing inflation, countering the opposition charge.
मॉरल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है कि उस अंतिम व्यक्ति को जो उसका अधिकार है, जो उसका सपोर्ट है, वो हम उसको दिलवाएं. ये हमारा मौलिक सिद्धांत है.
Earlier during the debate, opposition parties contended that the union budget lacks direction and purpose. Few members even alleged that the budget is not a poor man's budget, but that of crony capitalists.
ये बजट गरीबों का बजट नहीं है, ये अमीरों का बजट है, ये क्रोनी कैपिटलिस्ट का बजट है, ये कॉर्पोरेट को खुश करने के लिए बजट बनाते हैं.
आपकी सोच तो कॉर्पोरेट की तरफ है, कॉर्पोरेट की कैसे जेब भरी जाए, कैसे उनको आगे बढ़ाया जाए, सिर्फ इस पे आपका ध्यान जा रहा है.
अब आपने एग्रीकल्चर पे जो है ये बढ़ा के 44,000 करोड़ कर दिया 22,000 से, जिसमें 15,000 करोड़ तो सिर्फ ब्याज इंटरेस्ट सब्सिडी पे जा रहा.
D. Raja of the CPI sought to know why concessions were given to corporates and big businesses. He also spoke of willful default on loans by businesses and asked why it cannot be made a criminal offence. While K.N. Balgopal of the CPIM expressed concern over taxes.
The willful default is increasing, while poor borrowers are being harassed and even they are subjected to unimaginable hardships. The big fishers are given all concessions.
How much is the tax foregone? In this budget, this year budget, it is not shown. Generally, it is giving.
The JDU was of the view that there should be some sanctity attached to the promises made in the budget.
भारत पर आज कुल कर्ज लगभग 70 लाख करोड़ है. इस कर्ज पर हर साल लगभग 4.6 लाख करोड़ हम ब्याज चुकाते हैं. यानी जो टैक्स हम वसूलते हैं उसका 40% सूद की भरपाई में जाता है. इस वित्तीय वर्ष में 5 लाख करोड़ हमें सूद चुकाना है. यह है हमारी आर्थिक स्थिति.
Both bills were returned. The Lok Sabha had earlier cleared it on Monday after thorough debate. With Panchanan Mishra, Bureau Inputs, Rajya Sabha TV. Meanwhile, the Lok Sabha rejected 5 amendments made by the Rajya Sabha to the Aadhaar bill and cleared it by a voice vote. This happened just minutes before the House was adjourned till the 25th of April. The government pushed through the legislation despite opposition requests to not clear the bill in a haste. The central government bringing the Aadhaar bill to the lower house within an hour of being returned by the Rajya Sabha. The upper house had suggested 5 amendments to the bill. Finance Minister's motion of rejecting the amendments was then put to a voice vote, and it sailed through the upper house just before adjourning till the 25th of April for the second part of the budget session.
Madam, I move that the amendments as proposed by the Rajya Sabha be rejected.
The government was armed with the Speaker's decision that Aadhaar was a money bill. This means that the upper house cannot amend it but only make recommendations for amendment.
The question is that the amendment numbers 1 to 5 recommended by Rajya Sabha in the bill as passed by Lok Sabha be rejected. Those in favor may say aye, those against may say no. I think the ayes have it, the motion is adopted and the amendment numbers 1 to 5 recommended by Rajya Sabha in the Aadhaar Bill 2016 as passed by Lok Sabha are rejected by the House.
The bill clearing the Lok Sabha, where the government enjoys clear majority, despite some opposition members putting up a last-ditch effort to keep it pending for the second part of the session.
We have the upper house because we ought not to be passing any law in haste. We don't want any mistakes to remain in legislation.
All these amendments, including the deletion of clause 57, seems very reasonable to what our party, the Biju Janata Dal of Orissa, has been trying to implement in the Aadhaar process.
Congress members who were conspicuous by their absence during voting in the Lok Sabha came in for criticism from the government.
That government was willing for a debate, discussion, and then we were with an open mind, but they could not effectively put forth their point of view because the point itself is weak, as said by the Finance Minister.
Yes.
After clearing the Aadhaar bill, the Speaker announced adjournment of the House.
The House stands adjourned to meet on Monday, the 25th April 2016 at 11 a.m.
Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV. Earlier, the Rajya Sabha returned the Aadhaar Targeted Delivery of Financial Aid and Other Subsidies, Benefits and Services Bill 2016 to the lower house with 5 amendments. Opposition parties also objected to the bill being brought in as a money bill. However, the Deputy Chairman ruled that the decision of the Speaker in the matter is final and there can be no discussion on that.
Is that the presence of another independent member?
Opposition parties in Rajya Sabha on Wednesday picked holes in various provisions of the Aadhaar bill that was brought in as a money bill in the Lok Sabha. Members cutting across party lines in the opposition benches raised objections on making the Aadhaar card mandatory as an identity proof. Moving several amendments, they voiced concern that national security could be made a ground for sharing of an individual's details.
My party does not believe that Aadhaar should be made mandatory across the board from day one.
उसको ये मनी बिल अगर बना रहे हैं तो इसका मतलब कहीं ना कहीं पीछे पर्दे के कोई खेल है, कहीं ना कहीं शंका जरूर, नहीं तो इसको मनी बिल हम लोग जैसा जयराम रमेश जी कह रहे थे, इसको सेलेक्ट कमेटी में भेज देना चाहिए था।
इस कार्ड का अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर दुरुपयोग होने की पूरी संभावनाएं हैं और ये डाटा ये शेयर किए जाएंगे। मैं नहीं मानता हूं इनकी बात से।
The BSP, BJD and the Trinamool Congress also raised several objections and later staged a walkout in protest.
Whether the person concerned whose identity is being disclosed is being given an opportunity, is being denied an opportunity. Not only this, he is being denied an appeal also.
Replying to the discussion, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley sought to address the concerns of members, saying the use of phrase national security is required.
My respectful submission to what Jairam says is that national security over the years is a narrower phrase. It involves the interest of the security of the state, integrity of India, and it is much better in the larger interest of privacy that we allow it to remain on that ground.
Earlier, while moving the bill for consideration and return, Jaitley also said that the present bill was different from the one brought by the UPA government, as it had tightened privacy provisions with regard to sharing of information collected by the UIDAI.
By consent, you could part with information, share the information, and this can be defined by regulations. Now, we considered this on basis of recommendations of various experts, that core biometric information should not be shared even with consent. So we improved upon this aspect of the law.
Congress MP Jairam Ramesh sought division on 5 amendments moved by him that were cleared by the House. The bill was returned to the lower house with amendments. However, it is not binding on the Lok Sabha to accept them since the bill was certified as a money bill by the Speaker. This is Vishal Daya's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
But of course, as we told you earlier, the 5 amendments were rejected by the Lok Sabha and the Aadhaar bill was passed in its original form. The Congress, meanwhile, is not ruling out approaching courts against the move to turn the Aadhaar bill to a money bill to bypass the Rajya Sabha. Listen in.
I have said we reserve our right to take all legal challenges because we believe it's a misuse of power, it's a culpable exercise of power. I cannot speak about what we will do. I am faulting the government's entire malevolent intent to get a certificate. There is no ground to get such a certificate by approaching the Speaker in the first place merely because you don't have a majority in the Rajya Sabha, or you want to bypass Rajya Sabha, or you don't like the voting pattern in Rajya Sabha. There is never a reason.
Meanwhile, Parliamentary Affairs Minister Venkaiah Naidu has expressed confidence that the pending GST bill will sail through Parliament in the second part of the budget session. He thanked the opposition, especially the Congress party, over its cooperation in getting the real estate bill passed. Listen in to him.
इस बार उन लोगों ने साथ दिया, इसके लिए मैं उनको धन्यवाद देना चाहता हूँ। जीएसटी का क्या? तो अभी रियल एस्टेट पारित हो गया, अगला राउंड में जीएसटी भी पारित हो जाएगा। मुझे पूर्ण विश्वास है, वो भी देश के हित में है। Public opinion is becoming stronger and stronger day by day. I am confident in the next session, GST bill also will be passed.
And moving on to some other important news, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj and her Pakistani counterpart Sartaj Aziz were seen engaged in a discussion over a dinner yesterday in Nepal's Pokhara, hosted for the ministers of SAARC countries. Though details of their discussion was not known, Indian officials described it as a social chit-chat between the ministers who were seated alongside each other. The two ministers are also scheduled to hold a bilateral meeting later today. The meeting was sought by Aziz to extend the SAARC summit invitation to Prime Minister Narendra Modi. The summit will be hosted by Nepal later this year. Swaraj is also expected to nudge Pakistan to take action against the perpetrators of the Pathankot airbase attack. The attack took place just days after Prime Minister Narendra Modi's surprise visit to Lahore to attend the 66th birthday of his counterpart Nawaz Sharif last year. Now, this is the second time the two ministers are meeting since December last, when Swaraj had travelled to Islamabad for a multilateral meeting.
कल मुलाकात हुआ कि पठानकोट पे बातचीत हुई स्मॉल टॉक सार्क पे भी बात हुई कि सार्क पे क्या करना चाहिए.
With that, time for a short break here on Breakfast News. Do stay with us because we'll be right back.
Tales that inspire. Stories of social change. A salute to diversity. Promoting public discourse. Events that motivate. Inspiring the innovative spirit. Watch Rajya Sabha television documentaries. Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m.
Hello, I am Ishan Russell.
I'm Tracy Shilchi and you're watching News Tonight.
Together with the team of our
dedicated professionals from across various fields.
This is Shyam Sundar,
Vishal Dahiya,
Akhilesh Suman,
Frank Pereira from Beijing, China.
Kriti Mishra for Rajya Sabha Television.
We bring to you
the news that matters here on Rajya Sabha TV.
Thanks for staying with us. Now, in a horrific incident, 6 teenage girls were yesterday injured in an acid attack in Dera Baba Nanak in Punjab. The attack came after one of the victims rejected the advances of the assailant. 2 motorcycle-borne youth allegedly threw acid at a group of girls returning home from school. While a 14-year-old girl suffered around 18% burn injuries on her face and arm, 5 of her friends were also injured as some drops of the corrosive liquid fell on them as well. The girl who suffered the most injuries was said to be the target of the attacker. A case has been registered against the accused and his unidentified accomplice, and a hunt is now on for them. Meanwhile, Punjab Education Minister Daljit Singh Cheema has directed a release of 50,000 rupees for the girl's treatment. He has also demanded immediate action against the culprit.
ਪੇਪਰ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਘਰ ਨੂੰ ਵਾਪਸ ਜਾ ਰਹੀਆਂ ਸੀ ਇਸੇ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਲੜਕੇ ਨੂੰ ਸਕੂਲ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਵਾ ਕੱਢ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਇਨਡਿਸਪਲਿਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਤੇ ਉਸ ਲੜਕੇ ਨੇ ਅੱਜ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਲੜਕੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ ਤੇਜ਼ਾਬ ਸੁੱਟ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਜਿਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ
इस पूरे देश में ही एसिड अटैक की शिकार बहुत बड़ी संख्या में लड़कियां हो रही हैं और इसके बारे में राज्य सरकारों को भी कड़े से कड़े कदम उठाने चाहिए और समाज के लोगों को भी ऐसे लोगों को पकड़ करके तुरंत पुलिस के हवाले करना चाहिए.
News now from Maharashtra. The AIMIM has called the suspension of its MLA from the Maharashtra Assembly a wrong precedent. MLA Waris Pathan was suspended from the ongoing budget session of the Assembly for refusing to say Bharat Mata Ki Jai. Now, Pathan terms it a political move. The opposition says there is a need to steer clear of divisive politics.
AIMIM MLA Waris Pathan suspended from the Maharashtra Assembly for refusing to say Bharat Mata Ki Jai.
मेरे ऊपर जो सस्पेंशन की कार्रवाई की गई उससे ये बात तय है आज लोकतंत्र का गला घोटा गया है.
The Maharashtra Assembly adopted a unanimous resolution to suspend Pathan, the suspended MLA maintaining he did not insult the nation.
मेरे देश का कोई अपमान नहीं किया हूं, मैंने इस देश का कोई अपमान नहीं किया हूं और ना कभी मैं करने की सपने में भी सोच सकता हूं और ना कभी जिंदगी में मैंने किया है अपमान देश का. मैंने हमेशा देश से मोहब्बत की है.
Taking a cue from his party chief Asaduddin Owaisi, who said he won't chant Bharat Mata Ki Jai even if a knife was put to his throat, Pathan said, "We will say Jai Hind, but not Bharat Mata Ki Jai, and there cannot be any compulsion." Pathan, who represents Baikola seat in South Mumbai, will not be allowed to attend the proceedings of the House till the end of the ongoing budget session.
Mr. Waris Pathan has been expelled for this coming session.
और इस पर मुझे अभिमान और आनंद इस बात का है कि सारा का सारा सदन अपनी अपनी पार्टियों की सीमाओं को भूलकर सारा सदन जब देश का नाम आया तो सारा सदन इकट्ठा हुआ और सारे सदन ने उनको निलंबित किया.
Pathan termed the move political. AIMIM President Asaduddin Owaisi saying that the suspension will set a wrong precedent.
ये एक राजनीति साजिश के तहत किया गया है और मुझे इस देश के कानून पे पूरा यकीन है, भरोसा है कि वो मुझे न्याय देंगे.
The Congress and the Samajwadi Party cautioning against divisive politics.
ये सही आत्मा भारत माता की जय के शब्द की न बीजेपी समझ पाई है 60-70 वर्षों में, न AIMIM समझ पाई है, न गिरिराज सिंह जी समझ पाए हैं, न साक्षी महाराज समझ पाए हैं, न आजम खान समझ पाए हैं, न ओवैसी बंधु समझ पाए हैं, न BSP के शफीकुर रहमान वर्ग समझ पाए हैं और इस प्रकार के कई अनेक लोग हैं जो अपनी नासमझी में यद्यपि ये तोड़फोड़ की राजनीति खेलते हैं लेकिन भारत उनसे बड़ा है, उनसे ज्यादा महान है और उनसे ज्यादा गौरवशाली.
ओछी राजनीति करने वाले लोग जो है ऐसी चीजें लेकर के नौजवानों के अंदर एक ऐसा मैसेज देना चाहते हैं कि वही मुसलमानों के हितैषी हैं, वही मुसलमानों की जो है नेतृत्व कर रहे हैं. मैं उसकी निंदा करता हूं. जावेद साहब के स्टेटमेंट को पूरा सपोर्ट करता हूं मैं.
AIMIM member Imtiaz Jalil called on Speaker Haribhau Bagade late last night and told him that a great injustice has been done. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Civil Aviation Minister Ashok Gajpati Raju has said that law will take its own course in the case of beleaguered businessman Vijay Mallya. The minister also rejected suggestions to draw parallels between the now defunct private carrier Kingfisher Airlines and the state-run Air India over their huge loss and debt burdens. He also said that cases against Mallya are on to recover the 9,000 crore rupees loan he owes to various banks. Listen. An Air India flight from Delhi to Bangkok carrying 231 people was yesterday searched for explosives after it was ordered to park at an isolated area of the Thai capital's main airport following 2 bomb threats. Air traffic controllers of the flight directed the pilots to park the plane to an area away from other jets for safety reasons. Now, authorities activated an emergency plan and safely evacuated all passengers on board to check for a bomb. The checking results still remains unknown. Now, Suvarnabhumi is Thailand's largest international airport and sees around 50 million passengers annually. And petrol prices were yesterday raised by 3 rupees 7 paise per litre, while diesel prices were hiked by 1 rupee 90 paise per litre in Delhi. After the latest revision, 1 litre of petrol in Delhi will now cost 59 rupees 68 paise, while diesel will retail at 48 rupees 33 paise per litre. In the previous revision on the 29th of February, petrol prices were cut, though diesel was made more expensive. And jewellers across India will hold a protest march in the national capital today. They have been protesting against excise duty on gold and diamond jewellery in the recent finance bill. The jewellers have urged the government to immediately withdraw the hike, else they would continue with their strike.
The jewellers' protest to demand a rollback of the 1% excise duty hike entered the 15th day on Wednesday. In Andhra Pradesh, scores of them held a noisy protest opposed sales tax and mandatory quoting of permanent account number for transactions of 2 lakh rupees and above.
The recent budget, central government of India has imposed a 1% excise duty on the gold trade, and also it is bringing the whole trade into the excise purview. So our main demand is not to abolish excise duty. We are ready to pay excise duty, but we want us not to bring in the purview of excise department.
In Punjab, city-based jewellers organized a motorcycle rally and raised slogans against Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Union Finance Minister Arun Jaitley.
प्रार्थना फिलहाल हम लोग करते हैं कि इस कानून को वापस ले लो, हमारा कारोबार तबाह होने से बचा लो, वरना अगर हम लोग भूखे मरेंगे तो मोदी जी आपको भी गद्दी पर बैठने नहीं देंगे। अगर हम लोग आपको प्रधानमंत्री बना सकते हैं तो हम लोग उतार भी सकते हैं।
Across India, jewellers have threatened to hold a massive protest against the government at Delhi's Ramlila ground on March 17th. Jewellery sales in India have fallen in the last 2 months due to the higher gold prices. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
And news now from the United States. President Barack Obama has nominated veteran appeals court judge Merrick Garland to be the next U.S. Supreme Court justice. The Supreme Court vacancy follows the death of Justice Antonin Scalia last month. Now, 63-year-old Judge Garland is viewed as a moderate and has won praise from senior Republican figures as well. The appointment has to be ratified by the Senate, but its majority Republicans have vowed to block a vote on any Supreme Court nominee from Obama. U.S. Senate Republican leader Mitch McConnell said President Barack Obama has politicized the Supreme Court nomination process. They want him to leave the nomination to his successor, who will be elected in November. Meanwhile, President Obama has urged the Republicans to give Judge Garland a fair hearing before up or down voting him.
The Senate sees fit to confirm me to the position for which I have been nominated today. I promise to continue on that course.
Tomorrow, Judge Garland will travel to the Hill to begin meeting with senators one-on-one. I simply ask Republicans in the Senate to give him a fair hearing, and then an up or down vote.
Working together to get our economy moving again and make our country safer, rather than endlessly debating an issue where we don't agree. We'll appropriately revisit the matter when it considers the qualifications of the nominee, the next president nominated.
And news now from the ongoing ICC World T20 tournament. West Indies beat England by 6 wickets in their opening match in Mumbai yesterday night. Chris Gale's fastest century of the World T20 cricket helped the Windies chase a challenging target of 183 runs. Gale's century was laden with 11 towering sixes, helping his side reach the target in just 18.1 overs. His century came in just 47 balls as he bettered his own 2007 record.
To save the single, just one needed.
Gale also became the only second batsman in history to score 2 centuries in T20 internationals after the recently retired former New Zealand captain Brendan McCullum.
And it's been Chris Gale that has led the way with the bat. He has been truly magnificent.
And in the other match played in Kolkata, Pakistan registered a comprehensive 55-run win over Bangladesh in a Group League encounter. Pakistan skipper Shahid Afridi led by example, blasting 49 runs of only 19 balls, helping his side pile up a massive 201 runs for the loss of 5 wickets. Afridi then bowled his super-fast leg breaks to grab 2 for 27 in 4 overs to restrict Bangladesh to 146 for 6 in their stipulated 20 overs on a batting-friendly Eden Gardens track. Afridi then won the Man of the Match award, and also the victory was a sweet revenge for Pakistan, who were ousted from the Asia Cup by Mashraf Murtaza's men only a couple of weeks ago.
High and just over the rope. Last over, 2 for 18.
And that's it from us in this bulletin. Thanks for your time.